The awakening of humanity. In the late 24th century, Earth was a world that had survived its own self-inflicted disasters. Centuries of wars, environmental collapse, and political upheavals had left humanity battered but not broken. Cities sprawled across continents, powered by fusion grids and AI-managed systems, yet beneath the glittering surface, humans remained unpredictable, resilient, and fiercely determined to survive. While alien civilizations across the galaxy observed Earth with mild curiosity, none considered humanity a true threat. They saw fragile bodies, volatile emotions, and disorganized societies. Weakness, they thought. Yet, humanity had learned the most vital lesson of all: survival demanded adaptability, creativity, and ruthlessness. While other species relied on rigid structures and predictable logic, humans thrived in chaos. Engineers worked alongside military tacticians to create neural-linked AIs, capable of instantaneous battlefield analysis. Scientists experimented with biomechanical augmentations, merging flesh with machine to push human limits. Entire generations were trained not just to fight, but to improvise, innovate, and overcome. Humanity's potential remained hidden, like a predator lying in wait. The first interstellar expedition launched from the orbiting city of Neo-London. Captain Elara Vance, a veteran of Earth's internal wars, commanded the flagship Indomitable. Her crew was an eclectic mix: augmented soldiers, engineers, and human AI hybrids capable of executing strategies faster than any alien mind could predict. Their mission was simple: explore neighboring star clusters and make first contact. Yet, as they crossed the void, they carried a silent message: humanity would not ask permission from the galaxy, it would take its place. It did not take long for the galaxy to notice them. The Indomitable encountered the Xylar, a species as proud as it was technologically superior. Towering biomechanical exosuits, vast warships bristling with energy weapons, and a society organized to perfection, they were everything humanity was not. The Xylar dispatched an emissary, expecting to intimidate humans into submission. "Your kind is fragile, illogical, and doomed," the Xylar ambassador said, its voice a chorus of harmonized tones. "Return to your planet and remain insignificant." Captain Vance smiled, a subtle twist of her lips, as her crew activated the neural link. Humans did not retreat. Instead, they analyzed the Xylar's every weakness, predicting patterns, vulnerabilities, and overconfidence. Within hours, they had formulated a strategy unlike any the Xylar had ever faced. The attack was sudden. Humans used small, agile fighters to slip through the Xylar's defensive grids. They sabotaged shield generators, redirected energy weapons to overload, and unleashed self-replicating drones into the heart of the enemy fleet. The Xylar flagship, a fortress thought invincible, erupted in controlled chaos. Their superior technology had been outmaneuvered, not by brute force, but by ingenuity and unpredictability. By the time the Xylar realized what had happened, their fleet was in retreat, and humanity had claimed its first victory. News traveled faster than light. Across human colonies, scientists, soldiers, and civilians alike understood a simple truth: humanity was no longer ordinary. Humans had survived centuries of self-destruction on Earth and had emerged stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than any alien could imagine. The Indomitable returned to the newly established base on the exoplanet Akron 3, a world chosen for its strategic location and untapped resources. Here, humans trained and prepared, turning the base into a forging ground for the next stage of conquest. Soldiers learned to fight alongside AI in perfect coordination, engineers experimented with weapons that defied alien conventions, and tacticians studied the galaxy not just as a map, but as a canvas for human ingenuity. By the end of the first year, the galaxy had a new name whispered in fear and disbelief: humans. Not as allies, not as diplomats, not as victims, but as a species that could not be predicted, controlled, or defeated. The Xylar had survived, but their arrogance was shattered. Entire fleets now approached human-held space with caution, for the stories of human recklessness and brilliance spread faster than any communication network. Captain Vance stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable, staring at the stars that had once seemed so distant and untouchable. "They think we are weak," she murmured. "They will learn otherwise." And for the first time, humanity understood that it was no longer just surviving. It was awakening. And the galaxy, vast and ancient as it was, would soon discover that humans fight like no other species, and they show no mercy. The doctrine of fear. By the time humanity had established its foothold beyond the Sol system, whispers of their deeds had already reached the farthest edges of nearby star clusters. Entire civilizations had begun to underestimate humans at their own peril. Where alien species relied on diplomacy, protocol, and honor-bound strategy, humanity saw only opportunity. The galaxy would learn, quickly and brutally, that fear could be a weapon as deadly as any laser or missile. Admiral Cale Reavers, commander of the Dread Vanguard, was tasked with humanity's first offensive campaign beyond the newly claimed systems. A veteran of Earth's territorial wars, Cale understood that intimidation and unpredictability were more powerful than raw numbers. He believed that humans should fight like shadows, striking where enemies least expected and leaving them paralyzed by terror. His fleet was a collection of fast, modular ships, each designed to adapt mid-battle. Every vessel was equipped with AI-assisted targeting systems, capable of turning the environment itself into a weapon. The target, the Valar Empire, a proud and rigid species that had dominated several star systems for centuries. Their fleets were enormous, with colossal warships bristling with energy cannons and shield generators. They were confident that their size and firepower would make humans an insignificant annoyance. The Valars were wrong. Cale's plan was simple but devastating. He divided his fleet into small, agile squadrons that could maneuver through asteroid fields and nebulae, striking from multiple angles simultaneously. While the Valars relied on linear, predictable formations, humans attacked like a storm, chaotic, overwhelming, and impossible to anticipate. Sabotage drones infiltrated enemy supply lines, disabling key engines and communications before the main attack even began. Every engagement was calculated, yet flexible, allowing humans to adapt instantly to any counterattack. But it was not just their tactics that set humans apart, it was the message they sent. Before the first strike, holographic broadcasts were projected across Valar systems, images of cities reduced to ash, fleets disintegrating under unorthodox weapons, and civilians fleeing in terror. The broadcasts were brief but unmistakable: resist, and this will be your fate. Surrender, and you may survive. Fear spread faster than fire through a dry forest. Entire planetary populations began to negotiate surrender before the humans even arrived. During the first major engagement, the human fleet ambushed a Valar armada at the edge of the Arcturus sector. Conventional tactics would have required months of siege and attrition. Instead, humans struck simultaneously from 5 unexpected vectors. Shield generators overloaded, ships collided in chaos, and the Valar's communication networks collapsed under coordinated attacks by AI saboteurs. Within hours, the armada was neutralized, not by brute force alone, but by human ingenuity and relentless aggression. As the Valar leaders attempted to regroup, Cale deployed a new weapon: self-replicating drones that could repair themselves mid-battle and multiply exponentially. They infiltrated Valar command ships, spreading mechanical chaos that the aliens could not contain. It was not destruction alone, it was psychological warfare, demonstrating that humans were not only unpredictable but unstoppable. Worlds began to fall without a fight. Entire systems aligned themselves with humanity, believing surrender was the only rational choice. And yet, even among humans, the campaign was not without ethical debate. Some feared that the use of fear as a weapon would mark humanity as monsters. Cale, however, understood the truth. In a galaxy that underestimated humans, mercy was a luxury they could not afford. Every calculated strike was designed not only to win battles but to ensure that the story of human ruthlessness would echo across the stars. By the end of the first year of the Valar campaign, the galaxy was beginning to change. The doctrine of fear had proven its worth. Other alien civilizations, witnessing the rise of humans, began to whisper warnings to one another. "They do not fight like us," one Valar diplomat admitted. "They are unpredictable, merciless, and intelligent in ways we cannot anticipate." The words carried terror, for humans were no longer just survivors, they were predators, and the galaxy was their hunting ground. Back on Akron 3, Cale convened his officers. "We do not fight for honor. We fight for survival and supremacy," he said. "And we will teach the galaxy that humans do not negotiate, we do not beg, and we do not forgive. Fear is our weapon, and it is more powerful than any fleet they can assemble." The officers nodded, each understanding the gravity of the doctrine. Humanity's reputation as a species without mercy was now solidified, and every action they took would reinforce it. In the darkness between stars, humans had learned a critical lesson: to conquer, one must first be feared. By embracing unpredictability, innovation, and the strategic use of terror, humanity had rewritten the rules of warfare. The galaxy had seen their first taste of what humans could do, and the message was clear: resistance was futile, and mercy was a human luxury reserved for no one. The fall of the old empires. The galaxy had begun to tremble. Where once human actions had been dismissed as reckless, they were now spoken of in hushed tones across star systems. Entire civilizations had fallen under the doctrine of fear, and the reputation of humans as unpredictable and merciless predators had spread faster than any transmission could travel. But humanity's ambitions were far greater than isolated conquests. The ultimate challenge awaited: the Galactic Concordium, a coalition of the galaxy's oldest and most powerful civilizations, united for the first time in millennia to stop the rise of humanity. The Concordium was a formidable adversary. Their fleets stretched across entire sectors, their warships bristling with weapons that dwarfed anything humanity had yet deployed. Leaders of the Concordium prided themselves on centuries of strategic mastery, diplomacy, and military precision. They assumed that a united front would be sufficient to crush humanity before it could expand further. They were arrogant, and they were about to learn the first of many harsh lessons. Admiral Cale Reavers, now a legend among human forces, understood that conventional warfare against the Concordium would be suicidal. Humanity could not match them in sheer firepower. Instead, Cale devised a strategy rooted in the very chaos that made humans so dangerous: divide and conquer. He studied the rivalries and grudges hidden beneath the Concordium's polished diplomacy, identifying fractures that no alien strategist had ever considered exploitable. The first move was subtle. Human spies infiltrated political and military networks, spreading disinformation that fueled suspicion between Concordium members. Secret communications were intercepted, falsified, and returned, sowing confusion and paranoia. Ambassadors vanished mysteriously. Entire fleets received false orders that led to catastrophic collisions and friendly fire. By the time the Concordium realized their command structure was compromised, humans had already gained strategic advantage in multiple sectors. The first major battle occurred in the Epsilon Theta cluster, where a combined fleet of Concordium warships awaited human forces. Instead of engaging directly, humans employed a combination of guerrilla space tactics and environmental weaponization. Asteroid fields were detonated to create artificial gravity waves that tore enemy formations apart. Nebulae were used to conceal ambushes, and AI-guided drones infiltrated capital ships to disable critical systems from within. The Concordium fleet, once thought invincible, dissolved under the onslaught. But humans did not stop at mere destruction. Each victory was amplified by psychological warfare. Communications from surviving Concordium fleets broadcasted scenes of devastation, often embellished to exaggerate human capabilities. "This is what awaits you," the messages warned. Planets capitulated before fleets arrived. Leaders abandoned systems preemptively. Humanity's influence grew exponentially, fueled by fear and efficiency in equal measure. Amid the chaos, human ingenuity shone brightest. Engineers devised ships that could adapt to enemy weapons in real time, shifting shields and reconfiguring weapons mid-battle. Commanders employed unconventional formations, making it impossible for Concordium tacticians to predict their next move. Humans leveraged speed, improvisation, and intelligence networks that no other species could match. Every action was calculated, yet chaotic enough to keep the Concordium off balance. The climax of the campaign came during the siege of Varid Prime, the Concordium's most fortified stronghold. Instead of attacking head-on, Cale orchestrated a series of feints, drawing enemy fleets away from the planet while small human strike teams infiltrated the planetary defenses. Once the outer shields were breached, orbital bombardment and AI-guided sabotage dismantled the Concordium's command infrastructure. Within days, the planet fell. The Concordium, once the proud symbol of galactic power, had been shattered piece by piece. By the end of the year-long campaign, the galaxy had changed irrevocably. Sectors that had once considered themselves untouchable now lay under human dominion. The doctrine of fear had matured into the doctrine of inevitability. Alien civilizations, even those not yet conquered, recognized a chilling truth: humanity did not fight to negotiate, it fought to dominate. To resist was futile. On the human flagship hovering above Varid Prime, Cale addressed his officers. "We do not conquer for glory or vengeance. We conquer because survival demands it. The galaxy underestimated humans, and that was their first and last mistake. Remember this: we do not ask for permission. We take what is ours, and we do not forgive those who oppose us. And so, humanity stood as the dominant force in the galaxy. The old empires had fallen, not because they lacked power, but because they could not comprehend the ruthless pragmatism, ingenuity, and unpredictability of humans. The galaxy had witnessed a species that thrived on chaos, weaponized fear, and mastered strategy in ways no other could imagine. Humans had become the apex predators of the stars, and nothing, not even the combined might of ancient civilizations, could stop them. Yet, even as they celebrated victory, whispers began at the edge of explored space. Something vast, unknown, and ancient stirred. Humanity had conquered the old empires, but the galaxy was far from empty. New challenges loomed on the horizon, threatening to test the limits of their ferocity, intelligence, and will. The human imperium. The galaxy had been reshaped. Where once countless civilizations had ruled countless star systems, now a single name dominated the stars: humanity. From the remnants of the galactic concordium to the scattered independent worlds, the universe had been transformed by the force of human ambition, ingenuity, and unyielding ruthlessness. Humanity's rise was not gradual, nor polite, it was absolute. On the capital station of Imperium Prime, orbiting the reconstructed core of the former concordium, Admiral Cale Reavers stood before a panoramic viewport. Below, fleets stretched across space like a web, each ship a node in humanity's intricate network of control. Planets glimmered under orbital defenses, asteroid belts had been hollowed to store armaments, and communication arrays hummed with signals directing trade, military movements, and intelligence across thousands of star systems. The galaxy was theirs to govern, and every system understood one immutable law: humans do not forgive, and humans do not negotiate. The human imperium was built on lessons learned from conquest, adaptability, fear, and merciless efficiency. Colonies were established not merely for habitation but for strategic advantage. Each world served multiple purposes: resource extraction, shipbuilding, research, and military training. Humanity's population expanded exponentially, not only through natural growth but by integrating willing alien species into the Imperium under strict supervision. Those who resisted were removed, by force if necessary. Humanity's reputation ensured compliance; even distant systems knew the cost of defiance. Admiral Vance, now head of the Human Strategics Council, convened a meeting with Cale and other top commanders. "We have conquered the known galaxy," she began, her voice echoing through the council chamber. "But conquest is not the end. It is merely the first step. Our enemies may be gone, but the universe is vast, and there are still unknowns beyond the edges of our maps." Cale nodded. "True. The galaxy has learned to fear us, but fear alone is not enough. We must remain unpredictable, always advancing, always innovating. Any complacency will be our undoing." Humanity's fleets were unlike any others. Ships could adapt mid-battle, AI-driven reconnaissance drones scouted entire sectors in hours, and tactical simulations allowed human commanders to anticipate alien responses before enemies even realized they were under attack. Beyond military might, humans implemented psychological governance: broadcasts of their victories, subtle reminders of human supremacy, and demonstrations of technological marvels that no alien mind could comprehend. Fear remained a weapon, but now it was paired with awe. Yet, the greatest strength of the Imperium lay not in ships, planets, or weapons, it lay in humans themselves. Every soldier, engineer, and officer was trained to think, improvise, and act in ways that no alien species could predict. Humans could adapt to chaos, innovate under pressure, and leverage even failure into opportunity. It was not mere technology that had made humanity unstoppable, it was the human spirit itself, relentless and unyielding. As humans consolidated their rule, alien species began to adopt new roles. Some willingly served within the Imperium, providing knowledge, skills, or labor in exchange for survival. Others attempted rebellion, only to discover that humanity's reach was far greater than anyone had imagined. Every uprising, no matter how small, was extinguished quickly, ruthlessly, and with lessons for all to see. The galaxy learned that humans did not merely conquer, they dominated through precision, strategy, and fear. Amid the triumph, humans began to look beyond the known frontier. Probes were sent to unexplored regions, signals monitored for anomalies, and scouts dispatched to the darkest corners of space. Humanity had achieved what no other species had: complete galactic dominance. Yet curiosity, ambition, and the desire to survive drove them further. The stars themselves were a canvas, waiting for the next chapter of human expansion. On the observation deck of Imperium Prime, Kale gazed at the swirling nebulae in the distance. "We have taken the galaxy without mercy," he said softly. "We have rewritten what it means to be human. And yet, I feel the galaxy is not done testing us. Something waits out there, beyond our maps, beyond our understanding." Vance placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we will face it as we have faced everything else, together, prepared, and relentless. Humans do not fear the unknown. We conquer it." And so, humanity stood as the apex species of the galaxy. From the ashes of fallen empires to the hearts of conquered worlds, humans had achieved supremacy not through sheer numbers or technology alone, but through unpredictable strategy, brutal efficiency, and the indomitable will of the human spirit. The galaxy feared them, respected them, and, most importantly, understood that no force, no matter how ancient or powerful, could match the human drive to survive, dominate, and expand. Yet, even as humanity celebrated its ultimate victory, the edges of the galaxy remained shrouded in mystery. Something ancient, vast, and unseen stirred in the darkness. Humanity had conquered the galaxy without mercy, but the universe had its own tests, waiting patiently. And when they came, humans would face them as they always had: relentless, unpredictable, and unstoppable.